News with Gina.
The news with Gina Grad.
Well, now we know that LAUSD, the LA Unified School District, is not to be when it comes to the fall semester. Everyone will be doing their thing from home. But it's not just school. We also, this is sort of breaking as we're recording. As far as California goes, the Governor Newsom, has rolled back the state's reopening. So Newsom is requiring all California counties to close indoor operations for the following sectors. Some of them we already knew. Restaurants, wineries, movie theaters, family entertainment, zoos, museums, and card rooms. Bars must close all operations. And 30 counties in the state are monitoring closing fitness centers, churches, places of worship, offices of non-critical sectors, personal care services, hair salons, malls. So really going back to the beginning again.
I keep reading these articles that August sends me that basically we're supposed to get exposed, and the reason we're spiking and New York isn't is because they all got exposed, and now that they got their herd immunity. I don't know what you guys are hearing, but I feel like they all got hit hard at the beginning, and then they all got exposed, and now there's no movement. And
but
we
then
didn't.
Wasn't there talk of getting two different strains, that we got the Asian strain and they got the European strain? I mean, there's so much information just because, where the flights fly in from usually. Also, at least we know one case. So this isn't like, I'm not grafting this on to all people by any means, but there was that one big article about, the headline was, "Man says I made a mistake," and he went to a COVID party, which was kind of, doing it in jest and everyone getting together just to see what happens, just to see if it affects you. And this guy, his last words were, "I made a mistake going to that party." Oh,
that guy. Yeah.
So,
by the way, that guy was 700 pounds too. Like
if he was a pound.
My thing is like, I think everyone's going to be exposed to it at some point. It's a pandemic. It's how it affects you when you're exposed, and how many people are negatively affected in one time. I don't think we can avoid it. I think we got to keep it away from the folks that are in hospitals, and the folks that are old, and the folks that are in nursing homes. But I don't know that we're going to avoid it. I can't imagine. With all we're doing, and again, half of it is like people are out, people are flying. I've flown a few times. I'm going to fly some more. How could I avoid it? I don't think I'm avoiding it. I really don't. I just think it's passing. I think it's not. I mean, it's like Bean got it, of Kevin and Bean. It affected him like the flu, but his wife had no symptoms, and she tested positive for it.
Right.
I think there's going to be a lot of them. Yes.
Well, it would be interesting if you got an antibody test or an antigen test, just to see if you've had it, and
all over the country.
You might just be one of the ones that, like you said, it passed through. But I mentioned this the other day, and I've seen some friends on Facebook going, I'm experiencing this as well. There seems to be a pattern with a lot of people of, we all know the deathly, horrific fortnight of just kill me now, and then you start to get better and you're like, oh, it's gone, and then it hits you again. So it seems to come in waves for a lot of people too.
Well, this has been going on for a while. I know Bean, who got it, and I know I guess Brian Callen got it.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of guys I know who got it, but
your friend who wrote the music for That Thing You Do. Yeah,
but I just knew of him. Like, I mean, it wasn't really. I wish it'd be presumptuous for me to call him a friend. I never talked to him. I just knew who he was, and I'd worked with him many, many years ago. Yeah, he died, but I'm not judging this on who gets sick or who gets flu-like symptoms. I'm going for death, and I don't know. I don't have anybody in my world. I have a few people that got it, but I don't have anyone who was really affected by it. But
and I think we're right to not focus on cases. We focus on hospitalization. We focus on death, because if everybody gets it and nobody goes to the hospital, that's great news.
Yeah, I think if a bunch of 30-years get it, then that's fine. Adam Schlesinger, sorry, is the person we're thinking of. But anyway.
But there are hospital spikes in some places, and if we shut down again, people are going to start going insane.
Yeah.
Start.
Yes.
So
Keep
we'll
going,
see.
Hussein.
Yes.
Yeah, a couple of sad RIPs to start the day with. John Travolta's wife, Kelly Preston, an actress on her own, she died of breast cancer the other night. She was 57. She was memorialized in an Instagram post by Travolta. I think we have that. She fought. Let me pull that up here. She fought a courageous fight with the love and support of so many. My family will, be ever grateful to the nurses and doctors at MD Anderson Cancer Center. They, I think they were married in 1991. They have a 20-year-old daughter, a 9-year-old son. Their oldest son, Jet, passed away as a teenager from a seizure. And a family rep released a statement on Sunday saying on the morning of July 12th, Kelly Preston, adored wife and mother, passed away following a 2-year battle with breast cancer, choosing to keep her fight private. She had been undergoing medical treatment for some time. So that's why this was like, huh? Who? What?
Yeah.
Because it was never in the news.
Yeah, I saw that story, and I always kind of think about this theme that I get back to, which is, well, are you lucky or are you unlucky? Because we talk a lot about luck or timing or the haves and the have-nots. Like, well, she's a beautiful young woman, so that's kind of lucky. Not everyone looks that way. You got a nice genetic hand. She meets John Travolta. He's flying her in a Qantas Airlines jet all over the world. But then you lose your 17-year-old son, which has to be devastating. I mean, there could be no more devastating news to a mom than losing your teenage son, especially if it's that Papa Wheelie kid. Sonny, are you? That kid.
Bite your tongue. Bite your tongue.
A goddamn crackerjack, man. All the way down Foothill. Crossed up. He was crossed up. Anyway, you lose your son. That's devastation. And then, of course, you don't see your 60th birthday, especially when you're affluent, you have all the money anyone could ever, all the money science could buy, and you still can't buy your way treatment-wise out of it. And so, Kelly Preston, well, lucky or unlucky? I mean, a great live cut. I mean, many women live another 30 years, and in an affluence, you know what I mean, with everything you wanted. And then you, unfortunately, were alive when your teenage son passed. So it's like, and the answer is both, right?
Yeah.
That's the
like
answer.
most people, it's nuanced, it's a little bit of both.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is it's not worth sitting around and looking at what other people are doing and trying to figure out what they have versus what you don't have, or who's blessed or who's lucky or who's whatever. It's everyone's experience is different. And you should make yours different and not focus on everyone else's. Sorry.
Well, and to that point, just to get through the really morbid stuff, Naya Rivera, TMZ, and by now other outlets report that her body has been recovered. She was the actress Santoya Lopez from Glee, the cheerleader. She was 33. And she went missing about a week ago while boating with her 4-year-old son on Lake Piru. The body the reports has been recovered and the family's been notified. Her son found unharmed in the rented boat when she disappeared. The son said that his mom had gone for a swim and didn't come back. And divers had been using sonar and drones and dogs that can sniff gases through the water.
Where was this? This was in a lake, right?
Lake Piru, yeah.
Fuck is that?
It's north of here.
I think me and Jimmy for the Man Show may have filmed fishing with the fridge.
Oh,
there where we went out fishing with the refrigerator Perry.
Or Perry? Yeah,
we don't air that anymore because Jimmy was playing refrigerator Perry in that bit. So,
unearthed.
Yeah,
resurfaced.
Newly unearthed. Yes.
Apparently, this river, this lake in particular it's not uncommon to have a drowning death there. And
look, I don't want to be this guy, but I saw some of her posts and some of her pictures and stuff, and it seemed like she was struggling with something a little mentally. Like it just seemed like there was something going on with her. And it kind of makes you wonder, like, what was she doing out there? Why did she go in? How come she wasn't wearing a life jacket? Why? It seems pretty weird to leave your kid in the boat and then just go in without a life jacket. I wonder if there was some potential suicide thoughts out there. And also, like, I don't know, like, she didn't seem like an avid fisherman or something. Like, it seemed like kind of a weird activity. I don't know why you'd want to include your kid. I don't know.
But I don't know if you saw any of the security footage of just them, parking, getting out of the car, walking up the ramp. And like they have their floaties and they have their gear. And it just looks like any day at the lake. It doesn't, you can't tell, obviously, from security footage. But, apparently there's a ton of full-sized trees under that water and like debris and just limbs. And so a lot of people don't get discovered there because you just get entangled in all the shit under that water.
Yeah. It turns out not that much good happens in a lake, and ponds are even worse. So I don't know.
Bogs are the bottom.
Bogs are the bottom, man. All right, Gina, what else we got?
Yeah, let's switch gears. For the first time, a female soldier has graduated from the Army's Elite Special Forces course and will join one of the all-male Green Beret teams.
First time?
Yeah, unidentified woman is one of 3 female soldiers who have been going through the Army Special Forces qualification course at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. She graduated Thursday, donned her Green Beret along with about 400 others. The Army does not release the identities of its commandos or disclose to which Special Forces group they will be assigned. The more than 6,700 Army Green Berets are highly trained commandos who usually work in 12-person teams, and they're often used for specialized combat and counterterrorism operations to train other nations' forces in battle skills.
Well, between this and the hot Brazilian chick on Sports Illustrated, I've really turned the corner on women entering a man's world or men entering a woman's world. My compass is spinning around like I'm in the Devil's Triangle, man.
I don't know what to believe.
I don't know what to believe anymore.
But I mean, and this is not a case of, oh, well, they must have lowered expectations. Like, no, it's tough. That's why she's the first one.
Yeah, you can tweak some things around for maybe being a fireman or something. Although I would argue that's probably not a good idea either. Like, either you can do 10 chin-ups or you can't. I mean, do you want the fire person? It's like, well, they can do 3 chin-ups, but she's a woman, so she's coming to your house. But in the Green Berets, you can't mess around because you got a platoon and people die. So, and by the way, don't we all like this world where you go, here's the deal. You have to put on a 60-pound sack, a backpack, and you have to do a mile run in under 6.5 minutes. And that's it. It doesn't matter if you're short or tall or black or white or female. Those are the rules. And now, knowing that when you do become a Green Beret, now you have all our respect.
Oh, yeah.
Versus like, well, did you do girls push-ups when you're on your knees, when you're doing the push-up challenge? Like, once that starts entering in, then you start going, it undermines the achievement. So good for her. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So a little chess news. In a way, a Chess Champs YouTube podcast was taken down recently, allegedly because of references that are chess references to things like black against white, white always wins, things like that. TheSun.com says
that drop.
A series was removed because it contained harmful and dangerous content. And this Croatian chess player and podcast host, Antonio Rodic's chess channel has over 700,000 subscribers, 275 million hits on YouTube. His fans apparently just love his analysis of the games. And he was assessing a match played by Hikaru Nakamura, Japanese-born American chess grandmaster. And this guy who takes
master, I find master problematic.
Grandmaster.
Yeah.
Grandmaster, Grand Wizard, short jump.
Yeah.
He takes on these players around the world, believes his latest podcast was removed by an algorithm that picks out these key words. He says there's talk of racism, and the YouTube algorithm could have heard black goes to B6 instead of C6, white will always be better. So maybe with the current situation in the world, if you hear something like white will always be better, it might flag this video as inappropriate, harmful, or dangerous and take it down. And the host said it's a shame because he doesn't swear on the videos. He's just a chess guy. And he appealed and the video was reinstated. But the algorithm may have to be adjusted.
What was that Jodie Foster searching for? It wasn't Bobby Fischer, but that
Sure.
there was a Jodie Foster, young black chess guy movie.
Oh, was it Jodie Foster?
It had a name.
Oh, wait.
Little Man Tate.
Little Man
there you
Tate.
But he wasn't chess. He was just a genius.
Oh, he wasn't a chess guy.
Brian, if he's a genius, he plays chess.
I think Diane Wiest came in and took him to a school for the gifted, but all he wanted to do was be like an ordinary kid. And his mom, Jodie Foster, was like a waitress, a cocktail waitress. He was a very meager origins.
Oh, maybe
I saw it once in the theater in 1990.
maybe there was something in the trailer where he was beating someone in chess or something.
I think that's
And maybe I thought that's what he was doing.
You know what's really cool? When sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is kind of the slippery slope of all this sort of race-based everything. It's just sort of finding everything and weeding it all out and saying, no more saying peanut gallery and no more no more saying cakewalk and half this stuff. You're like, what? What does that even mean? Oh, it pertains to.
Refers to, yeah.
Right. And so everything refers to something. My point is if no one knows what that is, then can we keep moving along here? But anyway, go ahead.
I was just going to say that when I lived in New York, something that was very fascinating and almost sport-like was fucking awesome to watch. In the park, a lot of people play speed chess.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, if you're learning chess, don't bother because it goes so fast and you hit the button and people just play for But they're like, but the thing about it is, and yes, maybe they're all nerds, every walk of life, every age group, old black men, young ladies.
Old nerds, black nerds.
It's cool that that part of the culture, at least it was, in New York, is to sit around and wait at a table and somebody will join you for speed chess.
That was a trope in New York 90s movies where it had the old black guy sitting at the table in the background.
Because it exists. It was cool.
Well, you guys, I just want to, sorry, go ahead, Gina. Let's do one more.
All right, let's find something good here. Oh, perfect. A McDonald's customer in England has been arrested after he allegedly bit a seagull for a very good reason, because the seagull tried to steal his food. The suspect reportedly attacked the bird in front of a bunch of cops that were also eating. So the man claims that the bird was trying to steal his McDonald's. So he grabbed it and he bit it and he threw it on the ground. And the animal apparently appeared to be injured because of the bite, but it did fly away. But he was seen by the cops and admitted to being under the influence of drugs.
Isn't seagull the ballsiest of all the birds, right?
100%.
Brazen.
Brazen.
Yes. Whole bag of Cheetos and just takes it into the wind like it was never there.
Right.
At the beach, always.
They don't really care if you get up and walk around or walk toward them. They are the sort of ultimate example of what happens to wild animals when they interact with humans too much and then lose whatever that
comfortable.
Lose their fear.
Lose that fear. And then and also it's got to be, if you're a bird and there's French fries laying around, I mean that's the siren song.
That's go time.
I love French fries, and I don't even have a beak. But if I had a beak, I would really love French fries even more. I don't know. There's something about a beak that just says, "Eat me." I don't know, hot dogs, hamburgers, French fries, made for a beak. Made
for being made off with.
Yes, absconding with. Yes, grabbing one, taking off, and then eating it on the fly. But do they only eat it when they're flying? And then wouldn't that be like you only eating when you were running? And then wouldn't that be uncomfortable?
Yeah.
But you would never get fat. You know what I mean?
Vinny of the bird world.
Yes, imagine if you could.
Vinny Torter Pigeon.
Imagine if you could only eat when you were running. When Ted Cruz comes in here, remind me to talk to him about something that's driving me nuts, which is these godforsaken freeway signs. You know, I talk about it's always click it or ticket, and it goes from click it or ticket, and now it goes to wear a mask or social distance, but it's always a big handful of nothing. I've been walking around my neighborhood a lot lately, just taking hikes, and I'll give you a perfect example. There's walking down Foothill where the kid rides the Papa Wheelie, and there's the on-ramp for the freeway. And I'm walking down the street, and I'd like to cross the street. I'd like to cross where the on-ramp is for the freeway. All the cars that are coming at me at a decent speed, I don't know if they're going to turn up the on-ramp or they're going to go straight and go past me because nobody ever signals. So I start walking. Now, if they would signal, I wouldn't start walking across the crosswalk where the on-ramp is, but they never signal. And then half of them turn up and the other goes straight. But I never know as I'm walking across, should I stop and wait? And then I realized nobody signals. And then I realized it could so easily be remedied if they put it up on those signs.
If only there was someone to send a signal to the people on the street.
You're going to make this Ted Cruz mission?
Yes. Just imagine the semi-utopia we'd be living in if everyone could just signal the next day. Wouldn't cost. We wouldn't have to build any more roads. Wouldn't cost any money. Wouldn't be anything. Just an informational campaign. Just the same stupid sign that says click it or ticket that everyone ignores. Just use your signal. Just up it. Yeah. Just get used to it.
Increase efficiency immediately.
Right, because every time I'm walking, I stop and I see cars coming toward me, and most of them are turning up the ramp, but I'll never know because they never signal. And then there's also the other one where they don't signal, they're turning left, and you're facing them and they're facing you, and it's like you want to go, but you're not sure. Are they going straight or are they turning, but they won't? Who are these people who don't signal? Why? It feels like 75% of people will not signal. What is that? How could we correct that? And what do you guys think?
All things lead to narcissism.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
They don't care if you notice.
It's always my opinion people are out of it. They're in their cars. They got their phones playing whatever podcast. They got so many things going on. This should be the first thing to think of is the last thing to think of.
But
involve them.
But think how many accidents it would avoid on the freeway if people were signaling. And when you're traveling under a sign that says click it or ticket, your seatbelt's already on or it's off, but you're not going to do anything. If it said signal, that might be something you do in the next 100 feet. Like that's real time now. All right, let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.